Where from?
Australia.
Australia.
You?
My house here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Then go in the north back coming.
No, go to
Yeah. Over then the road.
Yeah.
Lingti.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. We have to find the new road. Day 8, and we're headed up to the Dhankar Monastery. This area right through here, and the reason that we're going along this road now trying to find an entrance is that this is a massive landslide that came through and wiped the original beginning of the road up to Dhanka. So they've put a temporary one further up here while they obviously shift what looks like to be a hell of a lot of dirt. And get the old road up and running again. So somewhere along here is a little spur road off that will get us up to the original road up to Dhanka. Fortunately, the geography lends itself to getting a bulldozer out and just quickly grading a track through, and that's the road. It's as simple as that to get around what they need to do when they get a big one like this come through. So you can see to my left hand side there, this whole area through here has been wiped out by a big one.
Here we go. I wait for Tom.
And we're on the corner now. If you go to, once again, my left, the original road goes straight ahead there, but obviously the landslides wiped that out, so we need to take the spur road, which young Tom has missed the turn off, and he decided he'd go for a bit of a ride further down the road towards Kaza, so I'm just waiting for him to catch up, and here he comes now. And then we'll head off up the road and all will be good. I always like to have a bit of distance between me and the next rider. Just sometimes you feel like you're in a conga line of people if you're too close to the guys in front, and I like to ride, solitary a lot of the time, so for me it's a trade-off, and it works well. And there's only one road, so it's not like you can get lost. To the left down there, that's the Spiti River, which runs right through, obviously, the Spiti Valley. And yes, it is another glorious day. Probably around early 20s Celsius riding at the moment, and this is around about 9:30 in the morning. So it's perfect riding weather, not too hot, not too cold. Ladies are off to work on the road more. And blue skies and about 50% cloud cover, and the altitude, we're probably sitting at about 3,700 here, I guess, 3,500 metres above sea level. You're going to get dehydrated really quickly, so make sure you keep lots of water in your system. And also, it's a good time to talk about eyewear, and that you really should have really good quality glasses on. They can be polarized or non-polarized, it doesn't really make a lot of difference, but they need to be decent sunglasses, not $1 ones you bought off an Indian street seller in Delhi, because the UVA and UVB rays will burn into your eyes. And similarly, you need to keep the sunscreen lotion up on all the exposed parts of your skin, especially for the first few days. If you come out of a cold environment where you haven't seen the sun for a while, you will cook if you don't. Slap on the sunscreen at every available opportunity to save yourself getting melanomas in 4 or 5 years' time, or if you already have them, or the precursors for them, bringing them on through too much sun. And the last thing you probably want to consider to bring is some lip balm for your lips. If you are like me, riding an open face helmet, even with the face neck buff that pulls up over my face, you still get the wind kicking through onto your lips, and they will dry out pretty fast. And you can get a little tiny tube of lip balm that will fit in one of your small pockets on your jacket, and make a habit of, at least when you stop for lunch, put on your lipstick, and if not more often. The road up to Dhanka from the main NH5 road we were down below on, it's about 8 kilometres long, and as you can see, it's in good condition. It's not wide, but hey, there's very little traffic here. Probably about 4 or 5 k's up now. The Diamox is well and truly kicked in, and the idea with Diamox to prevent altitude sickness is that it flushes the system out through your urine, so you are going to the toilet quite often, which is not a bad thing, because you can take the opportunity when you stop for a pee break to have a look around and take some photos, just marvel at what's surrounding you. The monastery at Dhanka has been around since at least the 12th century, and was at its peak, or it's at its height, from about the 15th to the 18th century. Some of the monks claim that it's been around for longer, but there's no evidence of that, and their counter-argument is, well, like all the Gompas or monasteries up here, they've all been raided or sacked at some time, or at least 1, 2, 3 times over the centuries by different people as they came rampaging through the valley, and so a lot of the early history of them is gone. Whether that's true or not, who knows. That's Dhanka in the Dhanka in the distance there. it sits on a 300 metre high spur overlooking the confluence of the Spiti and the Pin rivers, and it really is one of the world's most spectacular settings for a monastery. You can see how lightly trafficked it is up here. Yeah, a bit later in the day, look, it's got very popular now, so you get a lot of guys coming up on bikes and a lot of domestic tourists coming up in their small 8-seater tourist buses. So look, it gets busy, but it once again, if you go early in Spiti, you basically get the roads to yourself. And on a day like this, why do you want to be sitting in the hotel room anyway? It's just perfect to get out and about. Dhankar Monastery was the traditional capital of the Spiti Valley during the 17th century, and the early rulers of Spiti, the Nonos, they gained the rights to cultivate the surrounding government lands, and in exchange they were required to upkeep the monastery. The Nonos were known as a hard and harsh set of rulers, and they were eventually replaced by the British during their colonisation and subsequent rule of India. This first car park we've stopped here now, you can get lunch here as well as light drinks, and it affords a really good view over to Dhanka. And they even have rooms that you can stay out here for the night if you want. And the rooms, they're basic, but they're clean, and they're got plenty of blankets because it gets quite cold up here at night. So you can stay here, get some food, relax, and then head out to your next stop the next day. So we've just had a refreshing drink and a quick snack, and now we're going to head out to the monastery itself. There's a lot of development taking place in places like this in Spiti now, because the roads are a lot better, so a lot more people are coming up. It's still nowhere near the amount of people that are heading into Ladakh and Leh and up in that part of the Indian Himalayas, so it still has a very much a much less commercialised feel to it, the Spiti, than what you have up in around Leh and all that part of the Indian Himalayas. And as we head in, you'll see that there's quite a lot of buildings being built, and the Chinese are obviously happy because it's probably most of their rebar that's reinforcing the buildings. One of the most important things to do when you're in Spiti is, like Hung and Tom are doing here, is stop as often as you want and take photos or videos, or just take it in. It's an old adage, but you never know when you'll be back here again. So even if you do come back again, and you were to come back in 10 years time or 5 years time, it will have changed. I guarantee you it will be a lot more developed and commercialised than what it is currently. And I imagine if you came here 20 years ago, the roads probably were unsealed, and you were probably sleeping in the monastery. And that's always, keep that in the back of your head. If you're in the middle of nowhere and it's getting towards dark and there's nowhere for you to stay, the monastery will put you up. They have rooms at every monastery for people to stay at, obviously visiting monks, and if they have room spare they'll put you up, and even if they don't have room spare they'll put you up in the common area, and it's warm and comfortable in there, and you can spend the night safely there. Dhanka was built as a fort monastery, and it's based on the central Tibetan pattern of monastery architecture, which, given how close we are to Tibet here, is not surprising. There is a new monastery below in the small village of Shilling, and that's got about 150 monks in it. In 2006, the World Monuments Fund selected Dhanka as one of the world's most endangered sites. It's in the top 100 endangered sites in the world, and there is a not-for-profit that's attempting to stop the degradation of it, and maintain it, and in some parts restore it. They're having some form of success, but I wouldn't call it a outstanding success for it, but at least they're trying. You can see behind me some of the crazy geography that you get up here, because it's one of the world's highest dry deserts. It's just, you come across stuff sometimes that you just think, wow, imagine being a geologist here in the 1800s when they first came through. They just would have been in heaven. So now we're going to take a lesser used route to continue on, because our aim is to end up in Kasa for the night, so we're going to have a 3-night stay there. So there is this road that you can take rather than going back down the same road that we took, and that's where we're headed now. It's not as good as the one coming up, but if you're on a motorbike, you'll get through. Obviously the usual precursor or proviso that there hasn't been a large landslide to block the road, but look, people go through there all the time. The locals drive their trucks and cars through it, so there's not really a issue going this way. And going this way, you can see what you're looking at. It's just stunning, absolutely stunning. That green patch in the distance down next to the Spiti River, that's on the other side of Kasa town. There. You can see how dry it is. Always carry at least a litre of water with you. If your bike was to break down, here's okay, you're close to the monastery, it won't be an issue, but if you're further out and your bike breaks down, you might be out there for 5 or 6 hours till you get it sorted out, and in the meantime all the fluid's getting sucked out of your body. So rule of thumb is always carry a spare litre on the bike and another litre that you drink during the day. It's just another perfect day for riding, really is. It's because it's a dry desert, high altitude dry desert, so many days are like this. Basically from the second week of June through to third week of September. This year the seasons run a bit longer, but that's the window that you have where you're not going to have snow, and you can get through and be amongst all this stuff, which is just wow. It's just fantastic. What a place to be riding in. You're just so privileged to be here.